So this typifies the perils of the farmer in this day and age. My grandparents used to tell me that in their days, it was very predictable when the rain used to come. Actually, here for us in Uganda and in Buganda, the central part of Uganda, the month of January is named a name that actually means rainfall. I.e., when they named it, there was rain, assured rain in January. For us here in January, currently, it's dry. There is no rain. There is nothing. So it's okay. It's understandable that there is no rain, and that wouldn't be a problem. The problem though is that we expect rains to come in probably March, mid-March, early March, and the rains this year came mid-April. So we delayed our planting, but well, when the rains came, we decided to plant. And guys, take a look at what's happening. This is a very huge garden, mainly of maize that we've planted on very many acres of land. This is probably, I don't know, maybe 20 or so acres of land from the beginning this side, right here at the end, at the top of the hill. And take a look at what's happening. This is beans that we had planted, and look at the leaves. They have put on pods, and the pods do have some seeds, but there is nothing close to mature in here, and the leaves are drying. The leaves are drying, guys. The leaves are drying. We planted at the right time. Thankfully, we have pods coming on. You know, the pods have come on. If it was right at flowering time, it would all be wasted. So there's still hope. But that's not even the worst of the story. Take a look at the maize. The maize has all withered. It has all withered. Take a look. Even the one that has grown just a little bit more, it's starting to wither. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the leaves. They're starting to lose their strength. They are withering. This is really terrible. And you wonder who is to blame here. Of course, there's lots of things that can be done to try to avert this. But at some point you start wondering, is it really worth it? Or do I just need to put in more money in order for me to make it worth it? I'll tell you the story we've had with maize on our farm in the past. Last year, at around this time, we planted close to 100 acres of maize at the bottom of the farm. And the rain came. It was lots of rain. In fact, it was too much rain that the maize got flooded. So we had more water than we actually needed. It got flooded, but we had particular areas of the farm grow. So those areas sprouted and we collected maize over there. We were like, okay, cool. So the areas that flooded last year, we shall not plant there. The ones where the maize grew the best, you know, we shall plant there and plant a few more areas. So the following season, which is the one where we do plant in late August, September, we decided to plant another area. And the area which had given us the most maize the previous season got super flooded the next season, completely flooded. Luckily enough, we had planted some maize at the top of the farm, so that we did gain, but we lost over 50 acres of maize because it got really flooded. Then comes this year, 2022. Of course, our plan is we're not going to plant at the bottom. It's stupid, it's useless. If the rain comes, everything disappears. So what are we going to do? We're only going to plant at the top of the farm. It was a nice idea. We decided we tilled a lot of the top area of the farm. As you can see, I've told you guys, this season we probably planted, I think this season we planted the most, maybe 100 or more acres, a lot of acres of maize at the top of the farm. We decided not to touch the bottom section of the farm, and alas, the rains came a whole month and a half late. That was probably towards the end of April, mid-April. And then after the rains come, they have disappeared after a month, just a month of rain, and the rains have gone. They're supposed to stay for at least 3 months. So now the bottom, which would have been the more ideal place to plant during such a time when, you know, the rains are not good, because the bottom, since it's a swampy area, if the rain falls for a short time, you're not going to have any trouble, because you're going to have some water being logged inside there. And it's going to help you when you have a more prolonged drought like we have right now. Unfortunately, now this season we planted the top. We didn't plant the bottom. The bottom is not flooded and there is nothing there. It would have been ideal if we had planted the bottom. This maize would still be growing because the swampy area retains a bit more water compared to what is happening at the top here. So guys, it's really, really, really terrible for us. Luckily enough for us is that there are areas which we had planted a bit earlier on. So that maize had grown. It's probably shoulder level for me. Unlike this, which is probably at like, you know, knee level, some of it is even shorter. The other one is probably at shoulder level. And that means it has deeper roots. That means it's a bit more, you know, drought resistant. And now we've only gone 11 days without rain. So I'm thinking, what will happen if we go 20, 30 days without rain? So help us God. Well, I'm going to show you guys something that we think is going to help us in the meantime while we pray for rain. You see this? This is a tap. There's vegetation next to it. So much for saving the environment. I think this one can go. It's more of a bush than a tree. Anyway, so you can see this is a tap, and some time back we made a whole line of this going all the way to the top, right from the bottom. It comes from the bottom of the farm, and just like that it goes all the way to the top. And this we dug quite a while back, probably a year back. And it was for times like this that we made it. Times like this, during droughts. So, unfortunately, it only runs along this line. And this length is actually quite a lot. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 300 meters for the width of the paddock. So we need to connect pipes along this length. And we're going to try to water these areas, starting tomorrow evening, not today evening. There's too much work to do for today. So starting tomorrow evening, we're going to be watering, and we shall try to water the areas in the evening and ensure we have as much water remaining in the soil as possible. Of course, it's going to require a lot of people because we don't have piping. So we're just going to be using, you know, normal piping. We don't have like a sprinkler scattered in some of these areas. It's going to be quite a lot of work, but we are hoping it's going to save us. So it's at times like this that you start thinking, is it really worth it? Is growing maize worth it? Honestly, I'll tell you the truth. It's something that has crossed my head many times, and yeah, of course it is worth it sometimes. We've been really unlucky with the seasons, very unlucky. When we should have planted at the bottom, we didn't. When we shouldn't have, we did. And of course, I don't know if this all plays into global warming, that the seasons are changing this terribly and they're 100% unpredictable. You just have to gamble around, and gambling is such a bad thing because it doesn't come in line with farming. The thing that we're going to have to do, though, is that there's lots of people who timed it right, though. And you couldn't study the weather to perfection. You can't. Even the best, you know, weather people can't study the weather to perfection and tell you when the rains are coming. And so for us to be able to succeed at this, it means we need to install irrigation lines all through here. And that's something that we're going to work on, you know. If you're going to have to use this paddock of the farm, of course we have other plans for this section of the farm. So I don't think we're going to be actually installing irrigation pipelines inside here, because instead of using it for, you know, our plants, we're actually going to be using it for other things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys very soon. But it's worth it. It's just that I think for now, we're going to resort to having to buy the maize. Fortunately or unfortunately, well, I would say unfortunately, we're going to have to resort to buying the maize during the seasons when the prices come really, really low. Because if people have really good harvests, then it just makes more sense for us to invest in proper storage, build proper storage where we can keep the maize for as long as possible, and buy when the prices are down, you know, for us to consume on the farm, because we are using lots and lots and lots of maize. So many tons of maize a month. We're probably going to be using over 100 tons of maize a month very soon. So it just doesn't make sense for us to keep buying maize at really high prices, or for us to depend on seasons like this. It's unfortunate that we can't predict the weather, but we're going to do our very best to ensure that we get the best results out. And that means continuously working hard, continuously putting in the effort, never giving up, and knowing that there is a solution to everything. Focus, and we shall always be a successful group of people in the end. Our goal, of course, is to be a solution, and we're going to offer the best solution that we can in this moment. And of course, that means for us right now, it's starting to water, which we're going to be starting to do tomorrow. And yes, there is no reason to be sad. I know the tough times come, but oh, tough people last through the tough times, and they smile through it. You've got to be positive, you've got to smile, you've got to work hard through it, and then when the results come, you'll be satisfied. There's lots of satisfaction in farming, honestly, lots of satisfaction. So thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. Lots of love, bye.